John Lusk here of Lusk Archery Adventures. Serious testing, successful hunting. Today I'm going to be testing a head that a viewer donated, and I really appreciate these viewer donations. If you're really wondering how a certain broadhead is going to perform, and if I've not tested it or not tested it recently, please consider reaching out to me and sending me a pack. I just need at least 3 new broadheads to do a test. That's what Kevin Rendon did. I think that's how you say his name, Rendon. But he donated this pack of Rage Chisel Tip 3-blade heads. And I've been wanting to test these because one of my buddies used to hunt with them. I think he got them on like super sale at Walmart, or maybe it was Kmart back in the day. Who knows? But it always made me a little curious about how they'd perform. So I'm thankful that Kevin donated these. And for this test, I'm going to be using my protocol for 2025. And for a detailed description of that, please check out the video that I posted earlier this year called 2025 Broadhead Test Process, and it'll walk you through it. For most of the shooting, I'm using my Elite Archery compound bows, and for the crossbow, the flight test shooting, I'm using a crossbow, Killer Instinct crossbows. I love their crossbows. And for all the shooting, I'm using Bishop Archery arrows and bolts because they make such great stuff. Okay, let's zoom on in here and go through some of the design features and specifications, then put this Rage to the test. Here's a good look at this broadhead, and man, it spins really true. They've done a pretty good job recently, Rage has, with just the preciseness, the precision of their specifications and construction. So this is a 3-blade, 100 grain. The materials first. The ferrule, pretty short ferrule. It's aluminum, and then the tip, you've got a steel chisel tip, a really nice, sharp, stout chisel tip, and then you've got the blades that are 0.035 inches thick stainless steel blades. So decent thickness to them, and there's 3 of them, unlike most of the other Rages. And the way it works is upon penetration here, there's this shock collar that holds them in place, and it's pretty easy to put them on, put the shock collar on. You just got to make sure that these blades are tucked into it so one of them doesn't, hang out or something. Make sure it's snug in there. And then what it does is when there's pressure put on these back ends of the blades, the whole blade system slides back and they're rear deploying, and it punches a little bit out of the shock collar, and the blades deploy really nicely. And as long as there's pressure on this little portion, they're going to stay in their full cutting position. And that full cutting diameter is 1.6 inches. So for 3 blades with a diameter of 1.6 inches, that gives you a total cut of 2.4 inches. Now, I mentioned earlier it's kind of short, and it is 1.38 inches beyond the end of your arrow there. And for the price, they come out to just $13.33 per head. So decent price there to them. Now, for resharpening, if you need to resharpen them, I would use a Stay Sharp guide. They've got a new guide that's just come out called The Answer. And they call it The Answer because there was a lot of heads, they didn't have a guide to sharpen. They just couldn't figure out a good guide to use, a good system to use to sharpen them. But then they came up with The Answer. It sharpens a lot of different broadheads. So this one is one that you would use The Answer for. Really look forward to putting this head to the test and see how it performs. The Rage got the 10 ring. It took 183 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 10 on a 10-point scale, plus a bonus for being under the threshold of 200. It penetrated 8 inches. And you can see from the entrance hole here that it reached its full cutting diameter on impact. It took an additional 8 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 9.84 on a 10-point scale. And it also gets a special bonus for both the sharpness and the edge retention being under the threshold of 200. It only penetrated through 43 layers, which is a 6.14 on a 10-point scale. Here it is after just 2 shots through the MDF. I normally shoot it 3 times, but on the second shot, the blades got pretty jacked up. One of them got stuck way up in the front position because the back end is like stuck in one of the other blades in the rear position. So I didn't want to shoot it into the MDF again, but I'll work with it a little bit and then try to shoot it into the steel plate if I can. I just don't want to lose a blade in the middle of my target. Each time I shot it into the steel plate, this is kind of what happened. And man, it was a pain to get out of the steel plate, let me tell you. But here's the holes that it made, just basically the holes from the ferrule. Okay, it just kind of got a chunk in there. And then some of the extra scrapes and stuff are me trying to get it out of the steel plate. But you can see the blades just got pretty mangled up and broken. Now, to their credit, they didn't just fall off, but they did get sufficiently jacked up by the steel plate. Here it is after all the durability testing. And man, this has one of the more colorful twists and bends to it with the steel plate, and these blades just got bent. This one got broken, and they bent over and kind of interlocked with each other and made kind of this mess of a thing here of steel and aluminum, but they didn't break off. And then even into the cinder block, they held together. So what'd you think? Man, it did better than I thought. Okay, I've tested a lot of rages over the years, and kind of looking at this, I thought, I don't know. But then the more I looked at it, the more I started testing it, it really had some impressive features to it, and it got a decent score. Again, better than I thought, especially at the low price that sometimes you can find these for. So, Kevin, thanks for donating this pack and allowing me to test it. You check out the score sheet, and you see how it performed in the areas that matter to you the most, and see if this might be a good fit for you and your hunting needs. And stay tuned for the overall cumulative score, as well as the corresponding lust grade, and a slide that I'll put up of all the discount codes that I can offer just to save you some money. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next time.